Well, hello and welcome to Red Cup Real Estate. I am here with Mitchell Stelling of 101 Loans. My name is Shamika Fox. I'm your Santa Cruz real estate expert, and today we are going to do a deep dive into 3 different kinds of pre-approvals and explain why not all pre-approvals are created equally. Mitchell, take it away.
All right, hello everyone. I wanted to bring this topic up because this happened with a client of ours last week, and I'll tell a little story in just a moment, but we're going to go through the different types of pre-qualification, pre-approval, and fully underwritten pre-approval, just so...
And why each of them is important to know, so that when you're submitting offers, especially in a competitive market like we're in today, then you can understand why one is better than the other and what you have to do in order to get that better one, so that your offer can, 1, be selected, and 2, you can put yourself in a more advantageous position as a buyer in today's market.
Exactly. Well said.
Oh, thank you. Oh,
Cheers
yeah, you're
again.
welcome. You are very welcome. Did you say thank you?
Yeah, I did. I said thank you. Yeah, I think. We'll see. We'll watch it back. All right, guys. So I want to start with what I generally start with borrowers and clients is a pre-qualification. So what that means, I would say this is the lowest of qualification or approval that you could get. That's where someone would be referred to me, contacts me, and they need financing. And what I do is I send them a questionnaire. And this questionnaire just asks general information. Debt, income, assets is really what we need to know to determine, if someone can qualify or not.
But nothing's been verified.
Exactly. This is all verbalized, or them literally in our questionnaire typing in, whatever they think the estimated amount is. So it's 100% not verified yet. It gives us an idea.
Yeah.
And most people are pretty accurate from my experience when they submit this. However, nothing's been looked at.
Yeah.
So that's really the first one. If you ever are putting in an offer with a pre-qualification letter, that in the eyes of the listing agent, you could probably agree with me on this, is not very
I would prefer
doesn't
the
really give you
listing
confidence.
agent see at the very least a pre-approval.
Yes.
And even better if you are getting a loan, to see a fully underwritten pre-approval, which Mitch?
Yeah, which Mitch? That was hard.
Which Mitch
Yeah.
was talking about.
That's good. We're gonna go to speech therapy after this. Getting back to that was good. We're gonna take a quick sec here.
Go ahead.
So getting back to that was a good one.
Which Mitch?
We can maybe we'll edit this, maybe we won't. We'll find out. You might see this. So
Okay, take it away.
that's really the first tier, you could say, of qualifying. So there's that. Gives you an idea. The next best is what we call a pre-approval.
Yes.
And what that means is, of course, we looked at what the information they provided for the pre-qual, but they give us supporting documentation of that. So we actually have documents of their bank statements, their FICO score at this point. We review credit, and we can really determine at that point, does this person qualify? What's their debt to income? And really give them a really solid idea of where their rate range is going to be with that. And so that would be the second. If you are going to be putting in an offer with a pre-approval, that's what most listing agents want to see. Gives them that confidence of, hey, we believe
work with
you.
this.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. Then the third, which is the highest tier, we'll say, is a fully underwritten pre-approval. And that is where all the documentation, just like the standard pre-approval, was given to us, but we give that to the underwriter of whichever lender that, for me, I'm a broker, so whichever lender I'm going to be working with, and they fully underwrite it, where they will sometimes ask us for additional documentations. It's called
What does it mean to be fully underwritten?
Yes, so it means they go through all of the documents that they provided us. This is the borrower, and they will...
The underwriter reviews.
Exactly, the underwriter reviews it and gives us their, we could say, blessing or thumbs up, approval that the loan is ready to go.
Or they may ask for additional documentation before they give you a fully underwritten pre-approval.
And that's where we would reach out to the borrower and say, hey, we need, this document from your Fidelity account. That's the last condition that they need to review. And then at that point, they give us a thumbs up. And since we're in 2023, everything's digital, most of us. And it really speeds up the process versus, you know, how stuff was done 20, 30 years ago. I mean,
Yeah.
they would have to mail stuff in or come to your office. So that really speeds up, you know, everything in today's world. And that is going to be the best documentation approval that you can provide a listing agent.
If you're competing in multiple offer situation, which we are still seeing here in Santa Cruz County, and if I were the listing agent and I saw identical terms on an offer and one was a fully underwritten pre-approval and one wasn't just a pre-approval, and let's throw in the third, one was a pre-qualification, I would go with the fully underwritten pre-approval. So when you're meeting with your lender, talk to them and ask them what is needed so that they can do a fully underwritten pre-approval so that you can compete in today's very, very active real estate market right here in Santa Cruz County.
Put you in the best position, just like Shamika said. She would choose that over the others, which makes sense. It gives you a guarantee. You know, hey, we're looking good on the loan side of things.
Now let's also talk about risk, because I know Mitch has a story to tell us.
I do.
And let's talk about the fact that sometimes in this market, a buyer will choose to remove their loan contingency. And if they remove their loan contingency without a full approval and they are not able to close on the purchase of the property, it is possible that their earnest money could be liable. So understand the risk with the removal of a loan contingency and what it takes to have the most certainty you will need in order to make that determination whether that risk reward is worth it to you.
Exactly.
Okay, go ahead, take it away.
So yeah, going to that story. This happened last week. This is actually not in Santa Cruz County, this is down in Santa Barbara. We had a client that was looking at a new development, so new homes, and the builder required for this client or borrower to see the property to have a pre-approval letter. So again, that means the documentation reviewed, etc., what we just reviewed. So she goes ahead and gets a pre-approval with the bank, and she runs it past us because she's worked with us in the past but just needed something quick on hand. And she sends it to us and we review. We just want to make sure everything looks okay. And they call it a pre-approval letter, but none of her documentation was reviewed. Credit was not run. It's all really what she verbalized, and she's an honest lady. Of course, she provided, you know, what's the right information, but in the eyes of, if I was the builder or a listing agent, that letter means almost nothing to me. And so it's really shocking to see that it was called a pre-approval, because we call that in our brokerage a pre-qualification. There was no documentation reviewed. So the worst part about this, and thank God that she wasn't in contract at all, but after we ran all of the numbers and actually reviewed her documentation, unfortunately she didn't even qualify for what this bank said was pre-approved for. So as Shamika said, with the earnest money deposit, if this lady chose to put an offer in and it was accepted, there's a deposit that you have to put down. It shows that you're serious. And we generally go in with no loan contingency because we pre-review everything. And in the case that she went with this other bank and went in and then ended up actually not qualifying, she was gonna lose, I think it was a little over $40,000.
That's too much money to give away.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
Exactly. Amen. We pay enough in taxes.
Yeah. Don't give your money away.
Don't get me started. But that was just extremely eye-opening to myself and Rob, the owner of the brokerage. We were just taken back. How could someone provide something like that and put someone in a really bad spot if she proceeded and wasn't advised properly?
It seems unprofessional.
Yeah, that's really what struck us. And I sent this out to my real estate community and here in Santa Cruz because it was really something that shocked me.
Yeah.
And that's really what I wanted to share today, is really make sure whoever lender you're working with gives you a full pre-approval. If it's fully underwritten, that's a bonus on top of it, even better. But you want to make sure documents have been reviewed, and if you're not going in with a loan contingency, that you're protected still, that it looks good. There's not going to be a problem that comes up.
So you heard it here at Red Cup Real Estate.
Yep, episode 2.
Episode 2. Not all pre-approvals are created equally. If you would like an analysis of your financials so that we can figure out how to get you pre-approved and which pre-approval will be the best benefit to get you your offer accepted in today's competitive real estate market, give us a call. We would be happy to help.
We'll see you soon.